Our planet has a history, a long, tumultuous history spanning billions of years. These stories are told through fossils, ancient remnants of organisms that once thrived. Extinction, the complete disappearance of a species, is a natural process. This natural cycle of life and death is a fundamental aspect of evolution. Today, scientists warn of a sixth mass extinction, driven by human activities. The accelerating rate of species loss points to a looming crisis. Will we heed the warnings whispered by the fossils of extinct creatures? What sets mass extinctions apart from the background extinction rate is their sheer magnitude and speed. These are not gradual transitions, they are sudden, catastrophic events that leave ecosystems reeling. To be classified as a mass extinction, an event must eliminate a significant proportion of species, at least 75%, within a geologically short time frame, typically a few million years or less. Throughout Earth's 4.5 billion-year history, there have been 5 major mass extinction events. Each of these events, triggered by various cataclysmic forces, dramatically altered the course of evolution. Volcanic eruptions, asteroid impacts, and rapid climate change are among the culprits responsible for these past extinction episodes. The most well-known mass extinction, the Cretaceous-Paleogene extinction event, wiped out the dinosaurs 66 million years ago, likely caused by a massive asteroid impact. The sixth mass extinction, however, is different. Unlike previous events triggered by natural disasters, this one is driven by a single species, Homo sapiens. Human activities, particularly since the Industrial Revolution, have unleashed a cascade of environmental changes that are pushing countless species towards the brink. Habitat destruction, climate change, pollution, overexploitation of resources, and the introduction of invasive species are all contributing to this unfolding crisis. This time, the asteroid is us. Our insatiable appetite for resources and relentless expansion are leaving a trail of destruction across the planet. The rate of species extinction is now estimated to be 100 to 1,000 times higher than the natural background rate, a chilling testament to our impact on the planet. The evidence of our destructive impact is everywhere. Coral reefs, often called the rainforests of the sea due to their incredible biodiversity, are bleaching and dying at alarming rates due to ocean warming and acidification. Forests, the lungs of our planet, are being cleared at an unprecedented pace for agriculture, logging, and mining. Wetlands, vital for water filtration and flood control, are being drained and developed. This widespread habitat destruction leaves countless species with nowhere to go. As their natural homes vanish, many species are pushed to the brink, unable to adapt to the rapidly changing conditions. Climate change is exacerbating these threats, altering weather patterns, shifting habitats, and increasing the frequency and intensity of extreme weather events such as droughts, floods, and heat waves. The consequences of inaction are dire. The loss of biodiversity weakens ecosystems, making them more vulnerable to collapse. This, in turn, can disrupt essential ecosystem services such as pollination, water purification, and climate regulation, upon which human societies depend. The intricate web of life is being torn apart, thread by thread, and the consequences for humanity could be catastrophic. We are living in a critical window of opportunity. The choices we make in the coming years will determine the fate of countless species and, ultimately, our own. It is time to acknowledge the gravity of the situation, confront our role in this crisis, and take decisive action to change course. The threat of a sixth mass extinction is not just an environmental issue, it's a human issue. Our well-being is inextricably linked to the health of the planet and the diversity of life it supports. Biodiversity provides us with food, clean air and water, medicines, and countless other benefits that we often take for granted. Beyond these tangible benefits, biodiversity holds immense cultural, aesthetic, and spiritual value. The natural world inspires us, challenges us, and provides solace and wonder. Losing this richness diminishes us all. It weakens our connection to the natural world and erodes the very foundations of our existence. The good news is that we still have time to act. While the challenges are immense, they are not insurmountable. By understanding the causes of the sixth mass extinction and the urgency of the situation, we can start making more informed decisions about how we live our lives and interact with the natural world. This is a defining moment for humanity. We can choose to continue down a path of environmental destruction, jeopardizing our own future in the process. Or we can choose a different path, one that recognizes the interconnectedness of all life on Earth and embraces a more sustainable and equitable future for all. The choice is ours, and the time to act is now. To comprehend the gravity of the sixth mass extinction, we must first journey back in time, delving into Earth's history to understand the forces that have shaped life. The fossil record reveals dramatic upheavals, periods of intense environmental change that resulted in mass extinctions, stark reminders of life's fragility and the powerful forces that disrupt ecosystems. Each mass extinction tells a unique story, from geological clues and fossil remains. The Big Five mass extinctions offer valuable lessons about life's resilience and potential for catastrophic change. From the Ordovician-Silurian extinction to the Cretaceous-Paleogene extinction, each event reshaped evolution, paving the way for new life forms. These cataclysms were driven by volcanic eruptions, asteroid impacts, and rapid climate change. Understanding these past events helps us appreciate the current environmental crisis. The sixth mass extinction, driven by human activities, unfolds at an alarming rate. The lessons of the past are clear. We must act now to avert disaster. Our journey through mass extinctions begins in the Ordovician period, a time of teeming marine life. The Ordovician oceans were a riot of color and diversity. However, this period of abundance was not to last. The Ordovician-Silurian extinction event brought this era to an abrupt end. The exact cause remains a topic of debate among scientists. Over several million years, 85% of marine species disappeared. The event reshaped the marine ecosystem, paving the way for new life. As life on Earth recovered, new ecosystems emerged, and biodiversity flourished. The Devonian period, the age of fishes, saw diverse marine and terrestrial life. Giant armored fish patrolled the seas, while the first forests took root. However, this period faced significant challenges. The late Devonian extinction, spanning millions of years, ended this era. Unlike sudden extinctions, it unfolded gradually with distinct pulses. This gradual decline makes pinpointing a single cause difficult. Evidence suggests multiple environmental factors contributed. Ocean anoxia, or oxygen depletion, is a leading theory. Triggered by volcanic eruptions, nutrient runoff, and ocean circulation changes, many marine organisms suffocated as oxygen levels plummeted. The extinction wiped out 70% of marine species. Reef-building organisms were particularly hard hit. On land, the impact was less severe but still significant. The late Devonian extinction shows gradual change can be devastating. Of all the mass extinctions in Earth's history, none were as devastating as the Permian-Triassic extinction event, also known as the Great Dying. This cataclysmic event, which occurred roughly 252 million years ago, marked the end of the Permian period and the beginning of the Triassic. The Great Dying wiped out an estimated 96% of marine species and 70% of terrestrial vertebrate species. The leading theory points to massive volcanic eruptions in what is now Siberia. These eruptions released enormous quantities of greenhouse gases, such as carbon dioxide and methane. The influx of greenhouse gases led to rapid and extreme climate change. Global temperatures soared, ocean waters acidified, and oxygen levels in the oceans plummeted. These environmental changes created a toxic cocktail that proved deadly to a vast majority of life on Earth. The Permian-Triassic extinction event serves as a stark reminder of the Earth's capacity for extreme environmental change. As we delve into Earth's history, a clear pattern emerges. Cataclysmic events remind us of the interconnectedness of life and the delicate balance of ecosystems. The fossil record tells a story of resilience and renewal, but it also highlights the fragility of life. Rapid environmental change can lead to widespread extinction. The sixth mass extinction, driven by human activities, is unfolding. The rate of species extinction is now alarmingly high. Habitat destruction, climate change, and pollution contribute to this crisis. The shadows of the past serve as a warning and a call to action. The choices we make now will determine our future. Climate change is a slow-moving, persistent force altering our environment. Rising global temperatures, melting ice caps, and volatile weather patterns are undeniable evidence. Human activities like burning fossil fuels and deforestation release greenhouse gases, trapping heat and warming the planet. This rise in temperature affects every aspect of the natural world. Melting polar ice caps and glaciers contribute to rising sea levels and disrupt ecosystems. Species like polar bears and penguins find their habitats shrinking. Rising sea levels threaten coastal communities and wetlands, displacing populations. Climate change alters weather patterns globally. More frequent storms, prolonged droughts, and unseasonal temperature fluctuations stress ecosystems. Habitats become inhospitable, forcing species to migrate and increasing competition. The impact of climate change is far-reaching, affecting both human and wildlife populations. Addressing climate change requires global cooperation and immediate action. Reducing greenhouse gas emissions and promoting sustainable practices are essential. The future of our planet depends on our ability to mitigate climate change. We must act now to preserve the natural world for future generations. Habitat destruction is a leading cause of biodiversity loss. Urbanization, agriculture, logging, and mining transform natural landscapes. This destruction reduces habitat and disrupts ecosystem connectivity. Tropical rainforests, home to countless species, are being cleared rapidly. The Amazon rainforest, the lungs of the earth, is particularly at risk. Deforestation for agriculture and cattle ranching drives this loss. Wetlands and mangroves, crucial for water filtration and flood control, are also threatened. Habitat fragmentation makes species populations vulnerable to inbreeding and disease. Corridors connecting habitat fragments are essential for genetic diversity. These corridors are often lacking, leaving species trapped in shrinking habitats. Protecting and restoring habitats is crucial for biodiversity. Sustainable land use practices can help preserve natural landscapes. Governments, businesses, and communities must work together. The future of countless species depends on our actions. We must prioritize habitat conservation to prevent mass extinction. Pollution is a deadly threat to biodiversity. Chemical pollutants, plastic waste, noise, and light pollution harm ecosystems. Pesticides, herbicides, and industrial chemicals contaminate air, water, and soil. These substances can be toxic to wildlife, causing illness and death. Plastic pollution enters oceans, breaking down into microplastics ingested by marine organisms. Noise and light pollution disrupt nocturnal and migratory species. Artificial light interferes with animal behaviors like mating and navigation. Migratory birds can become disoriented by city lights, leading to collisions. Underwater noise disrupts marine mammals' communication and navigation. Addressing pollution requires reducing emissions and waste. Promoting sustainable practices can help mitigate pollution. Public awareness and education are crucial. We must take action to protect ecosystems from pollution. The health of our planet depends on reducing pollution. Together, we can create a cleaner, healthier environment. Overexploitation of natural resources is pushing species to extinction. Overfishing, hunting, logging, and illegal wildlife trade contribute to species decline. Overfishing depletes fish populations and disrupts marine food webs. Predatory fish like sharks and tuna are particularly vulnerable. Hunting and poaching drive iconic species like elephants and tigers towards extinction. The illegal wildlife trade fuels corruption and undermines conservation. Logging and deforestation destroy critical habitats and contribute to climate change. Unsustainable logging practices cause soil erosion and reduce water quality. Addressing overexploitation requires stricter regulations and sustainable practices. Efforts to curb illegal wildlife trade and promote responsible forestry are essential. Protecting species and ecosystems is crucial for biodiversity. Governments, businesses, and communities must collaborate. The future of our planet depends on sustainable resource use. We must act now to prevent further species decline. Conservation efforts are vital for the health of our ecosystems. Invasive species are non-native organisms that spread rapidly. These invaders outcompete, prey upon, or bring diseases to native populations. Human activities facilitate the spread of invasive species. Invasive plants dominate landscapes, altering soil chemistry. Invasive animals like the Burmese python and cane toad wreak havoc on ecosystems. These species often have few natural predators, allowing unchecked growth. They prey on native species and introduce new diseases. Controlling invasive species requires significant resources. Prevention is the most effective strategy. Management strategies include physical removal and biological control. Public awareness and education are crucial. Invasive species highlight the interconnectedness of our global ecosystem. International cooperation is needed to protect biodiversity. Addressing invasive species is essential for ecosystem health. We must take action to prevent the spread of invasive species. Protecting native species and ecosystems is vital. The future of our planet depends on our efforts. Together, we can combat the threat of invasive species. The human footprint, a global assessment. Our planet bears the mark of human activity. Sprawling cities and vast agricultural fields are evidence of our presence. These transformations have brought advancements, but at a steep price. The decline of biodiversity and disruption of ecosystems are consequences. The Industrial Revolution unleashed environmental changes threatening life on Earth. Our insatiable appetite for resources has pushed the planet's systems to their limits. Deforestation, overfishing, pollution, and climate change are symptoms of stress. The clearing of forests releases carbon dioxide, contributing to climate change. Overfishing depletes fish stocks and disrupts marine food webs. Burning fossil fuels releases pollutants, contaminating air, and causing health issues. Addressing these issues requires a holistic approach. We must address the root causes of our unsustainable relationship with nature. A fundamental shift in values and behaviors is needed. Recognizing our connection to nature is crucial. Our well-being is linked to the health of the planet. Forests regulate the planet's climate and provide habitat for countless species. Despite their importance, forests are being cleared at an alarming rate. Tropical rainforests are particularly vulnerable. The Amazon rainforest has lost significant forest cover. Deforestation releases carbon dioxide, accelerating climate change. Forests regulate water cycles and prevent soil erosion. Deforestation disrupts these cycles, leading to flooding and reduced water availability. Forests provide livelihoods for millions, especially indigenous communities. The loss of forests threatens biodiversity and human well-being. Protecting existing forests and restoring degraded areas is crucial. Promoting sustainable forestry practices can help. Collaboration among governments, businesses, and communities is needed. Balancing economic development with conservation is essential. The future of our planet depends on preserving forests. The oceans provide food, livelihoods, and ecological services. Overfishing, pollution, and climate change threaten these resources. Overfishing depletes fish stocks and disrupts marine ecosystems. Industrial fishing fleets have increased fish capture efficiency. Over 90% of the world's fish stocks are fully exploited or overfished. Overfishing threatens livelihoods and marine ecosystem balance. Depleted predatory fish populations lead to imbalances in the ecosystem. Overfishing has socioeconomic consequences, including job losses and reduced food security. Effective fisheries management is needed to address overfishing. Sustainable catch limits and protecting critical habitats are essential. Promoting responsible aquaculture practices can help. Reducing consumer demand for overfished species is crucial. Addressing overfishing is vital for the future of our oceans. The Industrial Revolution brought technological advancement and economic growth. However, industrial activities have released vast quantities of pollutants. Air pollution from burning fossil fuels is a major public health concern. Pollutants cause respiratory problems and cardiovascular disease. Water pollution from industrial discharges and agricultural runoff contaminates water bodies. Soil contamination from industrial waste and pesticides degrades ecosystems. Heavy metals in soil pose risks to human health. Addressing industrial pollution requires regulatory measures and technological innovations. Reducing emissions and treating waste are essential. Preventing pollution at its source is crucial. The health of our planet depends on addressing industrial pollution. The environmental challenges we face today are often described as a tragedy of the commons. When resources are shared, individuals may exploit them for short-term gain, harming everyone in the long run. This is evident in many environmental issues. Addressing it requires a shift to long-term collective action. Establishing clear rules and promoting cooperation is essential. We must commit to sustainability for future generations. Predicting the future is daunting, fraught with uncertainty and complexity. Understanding the potential consequences of our actions is critical. Scientists use tools and data to project biodiversity loss and climate change. Species extinction modeling forecasts biodiversity loss. These models estimate extinction probabilities using various factors. Despite uncertainties, they help prioritize conservation efforts. Climate change projections simulate future climate variables. These projections are essential for understanding climate impacts. Combining models creates comprehensive forecasts of environmental change. These forecasts guide informed decisions for a sustainable future. The Earth has witnessed 5 major mass extinction events in its 4.5 billion-year history, each wiping out a significant portion of life on the planet. Today, scientists warn that we are on the brink of a 6th mass extinction, driven not by natural disasters, but by human activities. The evidence is mounting, painting a stark picture of an extinction crisis unfolding at an alarming rate. The rate of species extinction is now estimated to be 100 to 1,000 times higher than the natural background rate, a chilling testament to the impact of human activities on the planet. Habitat destruction, climate change, pollution, overexploitation, and invasive species are all contributing to this crisis, pushing countless species towards the brink. The consequences of this biodiversity loss are far-reaching. Ecosystems, weakened by the loss of species, become less resilient to disturbances such as droughts, floods, and disease outbreaks. This can disrupt essential ecosystem services such as pollination, water purification, and climate regulation upon which human societies depend. The loss of biodiversity also has cultural, aesthetic, and spiritual implications, diminishing the richness and wonder of the natural world. The 6th mass extinction is not an abstract concept or a distant threat. It is a reality unfolding before our eyes. The choices we make today will determine the fate of countless species and the future of life on Earth. The time for action is now, before it is too late to reverse course and avert a catastrophic loss of biodiversity. Ecosystems, the intricate webs of life that sustain our planet, are facing unprecedented challenges in the Anthropocene, the current geological epoch marked by significant human impact on Earth's systems. Climate change, habitat loss, pollution, and other anthropogenic pressures are rapidly altering the conditions under which ecosystems have evolved, leading to profound shifts in species distributions, changes in ecosystem functioning, and the emergence of novel ecosystems. As global temperatures rise, species are shifting their ranges poleward and to higher elevations in search of suitable climates. This can lead to changes in species interactions, as species that were once geographically separated come into contact. Some species may thrive in these new conditions, while others may struggle to adapt, leading to declines or local extinctions. Habitat loss and fragmentation, driven by agriculture, urbanization, and infrastructure development, are further altering ecosystems. Species that are adapted to specific habitats, such as forests, wetlands, or grasslands, may find their homes shrinking or disappearing altogether. This can lead to population declines, genetic isolation, and increased vulnerability to extinction. The combined effects of climate change, habitat loss, and other anthropogenic pressures are creating novel ecosystems, assemblages of species that have not existed before. These novel ecosystems may function differently than the ecosystems they replace, with implications for biodiversity, ecosystem services, and human well-being. Understanding how ecosystems are likely to change in the future is crucial for developing effective conservation strategies, managing natural resources sustainably, and adapting to a rapidly changing planet. Section 4. Tipping points and cascading effects. Ecosystems are complex, interconnected systems that can exhibit non-linear responses to environmental change. This means that gradual changes in environmental conditions can sometimes lead to abrupt and irreversible shifts in ecosystem state, known as tipping points. Once a tipping point is crossed, the ecosystem may transition to a new state, often with significant consequences for biodiversity, ecosystem services, and human well-being. One well-known example of an ecological tipping point is the collapse of the Atlantic cod fishery off the coast of Newfoundland, Canada. Overfishing, combined with other factors, led to a rapid decline in cod populations in the early 1990s. Despite fishing moratoria and other management measures, the cod population has not recovered, and the ecosystem has shifted to a new state dominated by other species. Tipping points can also trigger cascading effects throughout ecosystems. For example, the loss of a keystone species, such as a top predator or a species that plays a critical role in maintaining habitat structure, can have ripple effects throughout the food web, leading to declines in other species and changes in ecosystem functioning. Understanding ecological tipping points and cascading effects is crucial for managing ecosystems sustainably. By identifying potential tipping points, we can take steps to avoid crossing them, such as reducing fishing pressure, protecting critical habitats, or mitigating climate change. Recognizing the interconnectedness of ecosystems and the potential for cascading effects highlights the need for a precautionary approach to environmental management, erring on the side of caution to avoid triggering irreversible changes in the natural world. Section 5. The human cost, a world without nature. The loss of biodiversity and the degradation of ecosystems are not just environmental issues, they are also profound human issues. Nature provides the foundation for human well-being, providing us with essential services such as clean air and water, food, medicine, climate regulation, and protection from natural disasters. Beyond these tangible benefits, nature also provides cultural, aesthetic, and spiritual values that enrich our lives. The decline of nature threatens to undermine these essential services and values, with far-reaching consequences for human societies. Food security is at risk as declining fish stocks, soil degradation, and pollinator loss threaten agricultural yields. Water scarcity is a growing concern as deforestation, pollution, and climate change disrupt water cycles. Human health is also at risk as air and water pollution worsen, and the emergence of new diseases increases. The loss of nature also has profound cultural and spiritual implications. Many cultures around the world have deep connections to the natural world, which provide a sense of place, identity, and belonging. The degradation of nature can erode these connections, leading to a sense of loss and disconnection from the natural world. Preserving biodiversity and restoring ecosystems are not just about protecting nature for nature's sake. they are also about safeguarding human well-being now and for future generations. By recognizing the interconnectedness of human and natural systems, we can create a more just and sustainable future for all. Section 1. A global imperative. Collective action for conservation. The biodiversity crisis is global, transcending borders and requiring united action. Urgency is recognized worldwide. Voices rise to meet this challenge, showcasing collective power. International agreements and initiatives foster cooperation and resource mobilization. The Convention on Biological Diversity, adopted in 1992, is pivotal. It sets a framework for conservation and sustainable use of biodiversity. The CBD raises awareness and promotes collaborative efforts. Organizations like the IUCN provide global authority on conservation. The IUCN's Red List is a critical barometer of biodiversity. Grassroots and indigenous-led efforts empower local communities. Collective efforts offer hope and showcase our commitment to biodiversity. In a world increasingly dominated by human activities, protected areas stand as vital sanctuaries for nature, havens where biodiversity can flourish and ecological processes can unfold with minimal human interference. These safeguarded landscapes, encompassing national parks, wildlife reserves, and marine protected areas, play a critical role in stemming the tide of biodiversity loss, providing refuge for threatened species and preserving the ecological integrity of our planet. National parks, often celebrated for their scenic beauty and recreational opportunities, serve as cornerstones of many countries' conservation efforts. These protected areas, typically encompassing large swaths of land with exceptional ecological or cultural value, are managed to preserve their natural beauty and ecological integrity for generations to come. Yellowstone National Park in the United States, for example, established in 1872 as the world's first national park, protects a vast geothermal wonderland teeming with wildlife, including grizzly bears, wolves, and bison. The Masai Mara National Reserve in Kenya, for example, is renowned for its incredible concentration of wildlife, including lions, elephants, cheetahs, and wildebeest. Marine protected areas, or MPAs, are the oceanic counterparts to terrestrial protected areas, safeguarding marine ecosystems, conserving biodiversity, and managing fisheries. The Great Barrier Reef. Marine Park in Australia, for example, protects one of the world's most iconic and biodiverse marine ecosystems, a delicate tapestry of coral reefs, islands, and marine life. Protected areas, while not a panacea for the biodiversity crisis, are essential tools for stemming the tide of habitat loss, safeguarding threatened species, and preserving the ecological integrity of our planet. They offer a glimmer of hope, a testament to our commitment to safeguarding the natural world for generations to come. Conservation is often seen as a defensive battle, a struggle to protect what remains of the natural world. But what if we could shift from a defensive to an offensive strategy, actively restoring nature? Rewilding and ecosystem restoration aim to repair the damage we've inflicted and rebuild ecological integrity. Rewilding envisions a world where large predators roam free and ecosystems are connected. It's about stepping back and allowing nature to heal itself. The reintroduction of wolves to Yellowstone is a celebrated example, restoring balance and biodiversity. Ecosystem restoration focuses on repairing specific ecosystems, restoring their structure and function. This can involve planting trees, restoring wetlands, and removing invasive species. Rewilding and restoration create resilient ecosystems better equipped to cope with climate change. It's about recognizing that we are an integral part of nature and our well-being depends on it. Our impact on the planet is undeniable, a consequence of the choices we make every day. But what if these choices could contribute to the planet's health and well-being? Sustainable practices promise a shift toward living and doing business that meets our needs without compromising future generations. It's about finding a balance, living in harmony with nature rather than at its expense. Imagine farms that work with nature, employing techniques like crop rotation and integrated pest management. Prioritizing soil health is the foundation of a healthy food system. These practices reduce pollution, conserve water, and sequester carbon, helping to mitigate climate change. Sustainable practices actively contribute to the planet's health, supporting biodiversity and conserving resources. Section 5. Changing the narrative. Education, awareness, and advocacy. The fate of the planet's biodiversity rests on a shift in human consciousness, a transformation in how we view ourselves in relation to nature. This shift begins with education, fostering wonder and appreciation for the web of life. It continues with raising awareness of the threats facing nature. And it culminates in a call to action, mobilizing individuals and communities to advocate for conservation. Education is the cornerstone of conservation. It's about instilling a deep understanding of ecological principles and the importance of biodiversity. It's about nurturing a sense of stewardship for the natural world. Imagine classrooms as living laboratories, where students explore local ecosystems and restore habitats. Imagine school curricula integrating environmental education into every subject, fostering informed citizens. Raising awareness of the biodiversity crisis is crucial for mobilizing action. It's about making the invisible visible, highlighting connections between our lives and the planet's health. Imagine documentaries showcasing nature's beauty and fragility, bringing the plight of endangered species into our homes. Imagine public art installations transforming urban landscapes, reminding us of the natural world. Imagine social media campaigns connecting people with nature and inspiring action. Advocacy bridges awareness and action, translating concern into change. It's about raising our voices for those who cannot speak, for species and ecosystems threatened by human activities. Imagine citizens demanding stronger environmental policies, holding corporations accountable, and urging officials to prioritize conservation. Imagine consumers making conscious choices, supporting sustainable businesses, and driving positive change. The Earth's chronicles are etched with tales of transformation, of life's incredible resilience and its heartbreaking fragility. 5 times, life on this planet has been pushed to the brink, only to rebound in new and wondrous forms. Today, as we stand on the precipice of a 6th mass extinction, the urgency of our situation cannot be overstated. We are not merely passive observers. We are active participants, shaping the trajectory of life on Earth with every decision we make. The solutions are within reach, but they demand a collective awakening. Let us choose wisely, let us choose boldly, and act with urgency. The story of humanity is still being written, and the chapter unfolding before us is one of unprecedented consequence. We have become a force of nature, capable of altering the very fabric of life on Earth. But with this power comes a profound responsibility. The legacy we leave behind will be shaped by the choices we make today. It is tempting to feel overwhelmed by the scale of the challenges we face. But despair is not an option. Every individual has a role to play. The future is something we create together, through our actions and choices. The time for talk is over. The time for action is now. This is a call to arms, a rallying cry for every individual to rise to the challenge. Make conscious choices that reduce your impact on the planet. Hold those accountable that prioritize profit over the planet. Become a voice for conservation, speaking up for the voiceless. Remember, you are not alone in this fight. The future is in our hands.